zipper go. And you can unzip it if you need to figure it out. 6.5. So, and you measured from the top of the skirt, right? Okay, so from the top of the skirt to the bottom, we're getting 6.5. Right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, maybe somewhere there. And we're going to use bold for this. Now, what should I draw first? That zipper opening or the zipper pull?
Zipper pull.
Why?
Because you don't want to have to like
right? It's on top, so you're going to draw the thing that's on top first. If I drew a big bold black line and then tried to draw fine little detail, you'll see the big bold black line, right? I don't want to have to white it out, so I like to draw the pull first. Now, an invisible zipper pull looks different than a regular one. It kind of has a little bit of a teardrop shape to it. It has a very distinctive look. In a future class, if you guys want to take the intermediate version of this class, we're actually going to create realistic looking zipper pulls on the computer, and you make one of them and then you can just copy and paste it everywhere. For this class, we're just going to kind of do a shorthand version of it. I'm going to draw it big over here so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the actual little hinge where the zipper comes up and down. And for that little hinge, I like to just draw a circle. And then for the little teardrop shape underneath, it's kind of like a little pointy open, okay? But it's so small, like if we actually tried to draw the little hinge and the functionality of it and everything, it's such a small little detail, it's not worth it, right? But on the computer, it's worth doing it once, so you've got all that detail, and then you never have to do it again. So how long is that zipper pull? Any ideas? Where should we put it? And what marker should I use? Bold, medium, or fine? Fine. Why? It's a small detail. If I drew a really teeny tiny thing with a big gold marker, it would just kind of swallow up in ink, right? So I'm going to use fine for this. It's about 3/4 of an inch long, so it's going to be smaller than one of your inch markings. And it looks like it's not even able to zip all the way to the top, right? So I'm going to kind of drop it down a little bit and draw the little zipper pull. That's why I drew it big, because you can't see it. And then, like, wherever the zipper isn't, we're going to fill in for the rest of that opening. Make sense? So there's a teeny tiny little gap at the top, and then the rest of the, what did we say, 6.5 inches? Okay, to the bottom of the zipper. Okay? Who wants to measure the bend? It hasn't gone. Oh, so let's figure out the height of it first, and then we'll figure out how we can get that diagonal. 6.5. Okay. So for that distance from the bottom, we're going to count up 6.5, and that's going to be bold, right? And then we know in between is a seam that can't be open, so that's medium. And I don't need to measure that, it's whatever's left over, right? How do you guys propose we figure out the stitching? Over and down, right? Kind of like we did with the t-shirt last week. In order to find a strange diagonal point, yeah, I could measure the length of it, but then that doesn't give me the angle. So you can either measure over and down or up and over, whichever one makes sense to you. Which one do you want to do? Up and over. So how far up? So we're finding kind of a dot, an anchor point that we can just connect. So 5 inches up. Let me write down this other one real quick. 5 inches up, and this one was 6.5 inches up. And how far over? Inches over. Okay, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and 1.5 over, and that'll be the ending point for our dashed line. Okay, so line marker. Yeah.
Is it really an inch and a half?
I don't know. Come check. I'm gonna trust you guys. So absolutely, if you guys feel like something's wrong or up, check. I also think it's a good idea to measure twice, especially when you're renovating or whatever, or sewing something important with fancy, expensive fabric. 6 inches up. Okay. So yeah, it's looking, he was noticing the angle looked too steep this way probably, right? It's a shallower angle. So instead of doing 5, we're going to go 6 inches up. It's going to be more like here. Right? That'll give us a shallower angle. And then this is just going to have regular stitching across. Okay? Now when you look at this hem, there's kind of some nuances and some details that we can do to make this really look like it's opening. Okay? Even if somebody's sewing this really, really well and both sides are equal, depending on your vantage point, you might see them as being slightly off. So what I like to do for a hemline where there's an opening, so like the bottom of the skirt, or we're going to be drawing a ribbon shirt later today, where something opens, what I like to do is this. So instead of drawing with a ruler straight across, I'll draw over, and then I'll go up a teeny bit, and continue the line. And if we've got an opening coming out of there, it's going to give you a visual cue that that actually opens up. Does that make sense? So on the center back, I don't want you to just, after we trace through with pencil, I don't want you just to connect a line straight across. This is one of those instances where I want you to draw one side. And the amount you go up is like maybe a pen thickness. It's not a real huge measurement, just a little bit of a jog, and that'll help give the opening cue to your eyes.
So while it's folded,
I still like to do it open, just because that fold kind of creates a little lump and a problem. But you can set your ruler down and then draw it halfway, and then just sort of tip your ruler a little and continue. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on the back of the skirt? It's going faster than the t-shirt, right?
yeah.
You're getting used to your material.